Hi, Hoiyee, how are you? Really hope you're well, and thanks for sending in your essay for correction. Good to hear from you. Yeah, thank you so much for sending in your last essay. Do you have a date for your exam? I'm wondering if you do. So many students have their exams cancelled. It's such a shame. Or postponed, not cancelled, postponed. But here we go. Let's get going on this one and see what we can do. So experts throughout both the developing and developed world have debated renewable energy development or a serious issue of energy security usage. Okay, so you need to show me a little bit more that you understand this. Have debated whether, so you like whether is like if or whether, you could have either. Renewable energy development, okay, is a good thing or is beneficial, or a serious issue, okay, for security usage, yes, and reliability. This is the whole issue of this essay, is there enough? I strongly agree. Strongly agree with what? You're not telling me with what. You strongly agree if it's good, or strongly agree if it's dangerous. Okay, so this essay will discuss both sides. That's fine. Instead of both sides on this one, because it's not really two sides of an argument, I think it's safer to say key issues. Okay, using examples. Okay, but what you really need to do is show me here that you understand the question. Okay, and I'm not convinced just in this little bit that you understand this, but let's keep going. Excuse me. On one hand, now just a technical point, if you have on one hand, you must have on the other hand. This has to balance. So that's really important there. There's ample evidence that the world could be facing these available resources of the planet, providing dwindling in 20 years ago. Okay. 20 decades ago. Ample evidence the world could be facing these available resources. Okay, not sure what you mean in that sentence. This is largely due to the reason thanks to many scientists have innovated green energy technologies such as solar and wind, good, to reinforce collection, to develop the substance reusable for economic saving, cost spending on the resource. Okay, so the world could be facing, why don't we say, instead of these available, why don't we say limited resources of the planet, so such as fossil fuels, maybe, is that what you're thinking here? Which have been, and then don't use providing, which have been dwindling for 20 decades. In 20 decades, I don't think you want to go. I think maybe you want for the past 20 decades. Maybe. This is largely due to the reason that, don't need that, thanks to many scientists have innovated green energy technologies, good, nice examples there, to develop a substance reusable for economic saving, for economic saving. Let's get some commas in here. Cost spending on the resource. Okay, good. Moreover, great vocab there. These renewable resources straight from the environment. You don't need that. Generate power. And do not worry about capacity limitations. Good. For example, evidence demonstrates nearly a quarter of all the substance energy share of the total energy produced from all sources. Okay, demonstrate nearly a quarter of share. The energy share of total energy, okay, was produced by these sources, by renewable. So the words you want: renewable, green, clean. Those words are all useful sources. Okay, so a quarter of the energy was green, I think is what you're trying to say there. Let's not be forgotten that although we still depend on traditional energy fuels which emit a high amount of greenhouse gases and raise the temperature. Alternative energy could. Yes, that's a very nice sentence. Very good on that. Therefore, it's clear that renewable energy is more popular in many countries. Good. Okay. I'm just not sure about the beginning of that, but you get much better going through. On the other hand, with the advent of another issue about green energy security, some people argue, present tense, that sustainable energy depends on unpredictable weather. Absolutely. Well, yes, absolutely. This is largely because the weather will always show intermittency and cannot be available. Instead of 24/7, don't use that in the exam. It's not really very academic. At a consistent rate year-round. And there can be droughts, may over a period of time. And what's the problem? Which means that. So tell me the problem. For example, if an insufficient strength of sun, if there is an insufficient strength of sunlight, not showing these might affect these resources, namely these are the solar panels supplying power to homes. So rather than providing usage, be more specific there. Thus, it's possible to state that are not independent and could that you don't need, whereas that fossil fuels. Okay, good. That's a nice paragraph. Just develop that a little bit there. To conclude, the argument from the, if you want to have from, given I firmly believe renewable energy and green style living trend will be more popular, in the future. The proportion of these energy demand will be raised in developing countries more than, raised more than developing, more than underdeveloped or newly. I wouldn't use the developing again. We've used that a lot in the beginning. I would just say would continue to be raised worldwide. I think everybody wants renewable energy. I think continue to be raised worldwide. Okay, so let's just go over this. I think the introduction, you need to be clearer about the point. You don't need to have the template. This is here as an example. You don't have to have that. It's just Ben uses it, but you honestly, I'd kind of be happier if you don't use it. You can say scientists throughout the world. You can say economic experts. You can use teachers if it's about education. You can kind of be more flexible with this. Are debating if or whether, and then you need to show me you really understand the question here. And then when you agree, I agree that, and tell me what you mean. Don't just say I agree, because I don't know what you agree with. So be careful on the intro. Here, make sure this topic sentence is really, really clear. This first sentence confused me a bit. This is much stronger here, and you get better and better as you go through. It's a very difficult essay, but you've done a good job there. Okay. This map, I'm sorry, there should be a question there. You're meant to compare what's happened. Okay. The two maps compare the underdeveloped and after decorated development for tourists visiting on the same island. Okay, after decorated, I would say post-construction. I think you're in design, so a lot of these words will be useful for you. The first original one map, about 100 meters length of a plain island. Well, no, 100, 200, 300. Was surrounded by sea with a beach located on the northwest and some forests on the east side. Make sure you're happy on your geography spelling. The second map, after development, so I would say not who. The second map, after development and building infrastructure and building on the infrastructure, the main design for tourists visiting or on vacation. Okay, so maybe instead of that, I would say the second map shows the island which has been developed and infrastructure has been built ready for tourists who are on vacation. Absolutely right to get this bit about tourists. Make sure your tense, this is good, make sure your tense is usually the past passive. So, or present perfect has been built or was built. Okay. Visitors enter the main entrance via the south of the pier, which has some sailing. Okay, which, okay, has been adapted to allow for sailing. So here's my passive, has been adapted. Okay. Also the vehicle track from the pier throughout the centre of hall visiting. Okay. Also the line of vehicle. Where's your verb? Also, a, or okay. Also the line of vehicle track from the pier to the hall. Okay. Maybe a vehicle track. A vehicle track. Okay. Sort of cool. Has been placed to move around, something like that. But you need this idea of a verb here, otherwise you haven't got a verb in that sentence. Numerous accommodation, okay, has been built, so passive, on the west and east, both sides good, connected around the hall, yeah, or reception area, vehicle trap, yes, nearly, okay. Also, the island can't develop the lake itself. Okay, a lake has been constructed on the far east side. Okay, so I'm using all the time here this present perfect has been constructed in a passive form. Okay, a lake has been constructed. So you're really talking about changes. You understand that, but what I want is geography, this kind of thing, geography and passive verbs. If you're not totally happy about passives, revise that. It's very important. Overall, become a tourist place and okay, more convenience facilities for visitors have been built. Okay, only the northeast remain unchanged. Okay, were unchanged. Okay, then you don't want a passive there. Remain unchanged. Okay, so good try on that one. I'm going to send you a podcast link so you can hear me actually talking about this question. The map questions aren't very common, but when they do come, there's something that actually I think you could do really well. Have a look at the vocab in this podcast as well, because I think that'll help you. Now, you've finished the course and you've done amazingly well. If you want to keep going, a lot of students are now buying an extra essay pack, which is 9 more essays. I've got a super good price for you on that. If you want to keep going, keep practicing. I think you need 6.5. Is that right? Let me know. And if you want to buy more essays, it would be great to keep working with you. Take care.